I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. This is the Indy Report, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm here with my brother Jeffrey Johnson. How you doing, sir?
Tired.
This is what happens when you have the youngins, the super youngins, is what I like to call them.
Yeah.
The streets.
I just put one to sleep and the other one was crying as the minute I had to leave, but tired.
I do not envy you at all, sir. I don't envy you one iota with regards to that. I don't miss that era at all.
No.
All right, so let me go ahead and run through the intro. Welcome to episode 646 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports, from institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture and HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU's athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, David L. Rhodes, along with my co-host, Jeffrey Johnson. Tariq Wilson and Brandon King are on assignment, especially Brandon King. He's on a very special assignment right now. We are filming from our home studios and sending the signal live to our KCOH 12:30 a.m. studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. So we got a lot of things to talk about, man. I mean, it's been kind of hectic what's been going on in HBCU sports with regards to coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you heard about Morgan State's got a new coach on women's basketball.
Yeah.
Her name is I know her last name is Diamond.
Yeah.
She came from Virginia State.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the hire?
I like it. It's kind of it's a smart move by Morgan. I think Morgan has done some pretty smart moves for a while. I'm kind of interested to see what the step up in competition, how this plays out, you know. And Morgan really hasn't upgraded their facilities in a while, so I'm just gonna see. I'm interested to see what kind of recruits that she can bring in.
Yeah, so Coach Nadine Dolman, she came from Virginia State, just won Coach of the Year there in the CIAA for Virginia State. So shout out to her. Now, what if I told you they had a very fascinating finalist that also applied for the position?
Like who?
Dawn Thornton.
What? Okay.
According to Live for Hoop, shout out to Live for Hoop, because she is out here. Liv is out here in these streets getting all these sources. But so Dawn Thornton was also a finalist for the position. Okay,
and why did they not pull the trigger? I'm not saying that
there could be. Well, who knows, right? Like, it could be anything from a. It could be a situation where she didn't want to leave. It could be a situation from a salary standpoint. You never know. Alabama A&M, they're doing some big things too as an institution. They're growing from an enrollment standpoint. They just got that new basketball facility, so there might be, we ain't talking about this. They just hired a new basketball coach from Grambling. But that ultimately boils down to he is the AD Paul Bryant hired him at Stillman, and then hired him again at Grambling. So it's an opportunity for him to reunite at Alabama A&M.
Absolutely,
so it tracks. But now you see Dr. Paul Bryant, the AD at Alabama A&M. He's out here getting his pieces. But now when Liv made that report, a lot of folks were in a tizzy.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I like what Alabama. Well, first they built a really nice venue to house basketball. So you got to get the quality personnel in here, to bring in the right recruits so that they could, I would say, sell tickets but my thing is with Alabama A&M is that traditionally, I remember them when they were in the SIAC days. Were they really a basketball power?
I think they're more of a basketball school than a football school.
Yeah, true. I'll give you that.
And they're passionate. They get really good attendance.
Yeah,
For their basketball games, women's
I
and
remember.
men's.
Yeah, I
So
remember those Morehouse and Alabama A&M games back in those SIAC days, and those were some passionate games. So I just really have not kept up with them, with them in basketball on the SWAC as they have been in there. It's always been pretty much the main two: the Jackson States, the Alabama States, sometimes the Gramblins. So, but that's kudos to them.
yeah, Gramblin's scheduled to announce their new head coach later this week.
Interesting.
And meanwhile, Alcorn State is still looking for their basketball coach. So it's going to be fascinating to see who else gets those positions in the SWAC. There's a lot of availability throughout the conference from that standpoint. But I'm curious about the women's basketball hire for Morgan, only because right now in the MEAC, there's Howard, there's Norfolk, particularly it's Norfolk, and now we got Coppin. Norfolk State just hired Jermaine Woods from Coppin State. He went but he's also a Norfolk State grad.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of movement right now. But right now it's Norfolk, Howard, Coppin. Those are like the main three, and maybe Morgan's just ready to try to be part of that group to try to get a chance to be formative in the MEAC. I think Nadine Diamond, she probably it's going to be fascinating to see how she can get into the conference and if she can improve upon and get Morgan State into a winning way. I mean, truth be told, it wasn't discussed enough. Morgan State at home gave Norfolk the most trouble.
Yeah.
On the women's side, which is kind of wild. But
you know what though? It's like, hold on one moment. Let me unplug this car from the Tesla lot. This guy.
Excuse me.
No, first of all, don't nobody want to buy this car. This car, I can't even give this thing away. And the dude next to me is like beating. So like just So give me 1 second. Let me.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, but in the meantime, so like there's been a lot of news that's been going on from that standpoint. With to a lot of coaching changes. It's fascinating to see. I have my opinion about why Coach Thornton would apply at Morgan State. The running joke I always say is that Morgan State, one thing Morgan State will do, they'll pay their coaches. They tend to compensate their coaches much higher than a lot of other folks. Like Morgan's among the highest, has among one of the highest paid men basketball coaches in the MEAC. So they'll pay their coaches. There's one thing that Morgan will do. They will pay their coaches. They'll pay their coaches.
Like Todd Bozeman got his bag there. He was getting that bag for a minute. So no, I definitely agree. Now moving over to Norfolk State though, my thing is, with Norfolk, this one was interesting about this. Like, we had a little tit for tat in our text about that coaching hire, and I was more on the concerned about, is it the right fit? I know he's a Norfolk native. I mean, alumnus.
Norfolk grad too.
Yeah, Norfolk grad. But my thing is, have they invested into that program? Because they have two really good. Well, they just lost one. They have two excellent coaches there. What has been the investment into their basketball program since you had two, like other teams in the MEAC and all HBCUs would kill for those coaches. So what have they done to improve it though? I'm not saying that they're not bad because they win it, but if all the success that they have brought into that university, I haven't seen anything.
I think basketball. I think they've been doing I think basketball wise, I think they've been investing more than football. But we're gonna see now with them having Michael Vick as the head coach. We're gonna see what they do with regards to that. But I will say, like, I like the Jermaine Woods hire. As soon as there was talk that Vickers was heading to Auburn, that was like the first name I thought about because because it's like you go just pull somebody from another conference, hurt them a little bit. Compton's gonna be fine. Yeah. I mean, they got some pretty good basketball facilities themselves, so I think Compton's gonna be okay.
Well, they have to, that's all they got, So, but yeah. Definitely feel. I think it's a loss, though. I mean, they're definitely fun, but I mean, I can understand him wanting to go home. So, and I think that it's definitely a good hire for Norfolk State. I just want to see them. Well, and I can't say it like that. It's just like you and with Central, But I don't want to see them not doing well because that doesn't help us either. So, I thought it was a smart move by them. Still kind of on the fence on the Vic thing, but it is what it is.
He did. I will say. I mean, he looks like he's in it. He's in it, man. So I'm curious. Like we on HBCU Nightly about a week and a half ago, we did an assessment of the MEAC on the football side and what they could do and things with regards to that.
Yep.
Yeah, my daughter's calling me right now. And I gotta send her off. All right, let me go ahead and get her this Uber, get her back home. Bear with me, guys. I apologize. But it's the thing that's fascinating about the MEAC football system, about the football situation is that when you talk about, oh man, let me see. When you talk about where Norfolk stands in it, like folks are like legitimately nervous about whether or not it makes sense. Could Norfolk win that conference first year, do like South Carolina State? And I've been saying we shouldn't compare that because you can't compare that because Chinnisberry was a different type of coach.
Yeah.
So you can't really compare that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's just my attitude towards it.
No, and Chinnisberry is a seasoned veteran, seasoned coach. He's been coaching for a long time. Whereas Michael Vick ain't coached Pee Wee football. So you want to put him at the head of a university, I think that would be, that's him and Donte Jackson. So I think a lot of it is hype, so Dion, it's the prime effect, it's like, but Prime, when he came to Jackson State, he had been coaching for a while and he had an idea of what he wanted to do. And I would say Mike Vick, he's had people that are around him. And I know just by speaking to people personally around the program, he has brought in some people, Tommy Raymond Jr. If you're not Tidewater native, he is the king of Tidewater. Everybody knows him. He's very well connected. So he has a lot of people that are connected within that community that's going to help him out. I think that is a huge thing for him. As far as like I would say being competitive, they weren't competitive last year. They did.
They were third in the conference.
Okay, all right. Third, all right. I'll give you that. Third in the conference of like okay.
No, but my point is, it's like it's not like Delaware State.
Nah.
Like Delaware. That's my point, right?
Okay.
Like I think Deshaun Jackson's got a bigger hill to climb.
Ooh, huge.
But and it's not like the cupboard is bare at Norfolk.
No, they don't. But I mean,
they were third or fourth in the conference. They weren't last. Like they were like a game. Like they were higher than Howard.
Yeah,
they were higher. Yeah, like they were. I don't. They might have been tied with Morgan or at the same spot, like either third or fourth.
Yeah, I was disappointed in Morgan's performance last year. I thought they were going to do a little bit better. But it's like, hey, they took the Spartans have a lot of our players on their roster, guys that just sat on the depth chart, I don't know what you see differently about him now. And he did take a couple of our coaches. No worries, you're good. So, I mean, they probably weren't going to be back anyway. So, and that's just not shade. It's just that okay, so. I don't. Yeah, you're right. They did not have a tougher hill because I felt like Dawson Odom's actually he left them some players there.
Yeah.
He has some good talent. Be okay. It'll probably be similar to where they are now, just with Michael Vick as a head coach.
It's just unfortunate, man. The school down the road probably going to end up winning that conference, which I'm disgusted by, but it is what it is. But
you think they're
it'll
going
be.
to win?
Yeah, I think they're probably going to win the conference. I mean, I could see them tying with somebody, but they'll probably win the tiebreaker. I think South Carolina State. I think South Carolina State's going to take a step back. I don't think they're going to be as good because they lost a lot of talent. Howard is fascinating, but I don't know if Howard has enough because Howard took a pretty big step back last year. But it'll be interesting to see.
Those three-star kids are gone. So, but my thing is with Howard is that I was really high on Howard this year coming in. I mean, this previous year, I was high on Morgan State. And those teams, they really dropped the ball. So I am more concerned with. I am definitely concerned with North Carolina Central, but we're not playing them this year. So
no, y'all playing Jackson State instead. Y'all playing Jackson State instead.
God, why did we do that?
It's funny. We did the Independents on Sunday. We went over A&T, Hampton, and Tennessee State. And the one thing I said, and I was probably one of the only ones that thought this, I said, I think Hampton's going to keep this game more interesting. You guys are going to give it credit for.
Yeah.
And they think everybody else on the panel think y'all going to get blown out. I think y'all going to probably still lose, but I think it's going to be closer than people are going to give it credit for.
Yeah. You know what though? I would say if this was last year's team, we would
not opening week. Not opening week, buddy.
That was not opening week. Yeah, catch us later.
Not opening week. That's the thing, right? Because there's going to be a lot of continuity with Jackson. I don't see anybody to throw in Jackson. So I mean, you're talking. I don't see it. Like somebody, like I know we gotta build the mystique about can somebody else do it, but I think on the East, I think everybody's a year out.
Yeah,
I think everybody's a year away to try to catch up to Jackson. And I know folks don't want to hear that because when football season come around, you don't want to know the conclusions. But Jackson's got to have a barrage of injuries to convince me that they can't that they're not repeating.
Yeah.
Like I keep and the thing is then when you go to and you go to the West, I mean, I think Prairie View's probably going to end up winning the West.
I can see.
I mean, Southern has a shot, and I don't want to discount Southern. I just don't think Grambling, or UAPB or any of the other or Alcorn. I don't think any of those schools are going to be able to make enough strides to stop Prairie View or Texas Southern. I don't. I think Southern's the only thing that's stopping them.
Yeah, but my concern is how is Grambling? Like Grambling, when I say they have fallen on hard times, they have fallen. I mean, I'm not gonna say they've fallen. They're just a mediocre program, and I think that more people need to kind of accept that Grambling is what Grambling is, mediocre. And
be careful, man.
It's like Southern has.
I just think that the West is the West. I felt like this last year. The West was about the coaching, and that's advantage Southern with the coaches that are in there.
Yeah, you got Terrence, or was it not?
You got Graves, you got Terrence Graves.
Yeah, Graves.
And then I mean, between him and Bubba, those are the two best coaches in that conference.
Yeah. Hold on, didn't they let go of Bubba?
They let go of Bubba to bring in my guy that came from Valdosta State, which name escaping me right now.
Oh, how did they get him? Wow.
Yeah, nah. That was a good get. That was a good get. That was a phenomenal
you know what?
get.
I think when he went in there and saw those facilities, he was like, "Oh no, I can rock with this." Yeah.
That was a good get.
Okay.
That was a good get.
That, you know what? Just that alone right there says a lot. And yeah, that was definitely a good get.
What do you think about Southern? What do you think about Southern naming McNair the QB coach? Jermaine Jackson. That's the coach. That's the Prairie View coach name.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
No, you're not. 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 What are your thoughts?
I just don't think it's a good fit, man.
You don't think so? I mean,
no.
Why not?
No, I just.
He's a quarterback in his day.
Yeah, he was. But, if you notice, a lot of quarterback coaches that go on to be, quarterbacks that go on to be quarterback coaches don't really pan out. It's because they're thinking about the way that they did it. If you take a look at Kincaid, was it Donte Kincaid at Grambling, flopped. Now Quinn Gray at Florida A&M.
Quinn Gray's different.
Yeah, he flopped. But when he went and got his own gig at ASU, he did great. And he got some more seasoning at the high school, on the high school circuit. I think it was another Michael Morant flopped over at St. Augustine. So I just think quarterback coaches that were great quarterbacks, or at least good quarterbacks, do not work. Kendrick Nord is another example. They don't really work. So I'm going to just keep it there, and that's the PC version.
That's fair enough. It'll be fascinating because I know that Southern will probably come out as the favorites to win the West, but I don't think it's going to be the same situation because I think Prairie View is going to be more ready this time.
Yeah,
Mr. Thornton, your word of the street ain't accurate regarding A&T coming back to the MEAC, begging to come back. That's not accurate at all.
Look, none of us are coming back. Like, could you we're tired of talking about this. But can you imagine?
I'm good for it. Like maybe once a month.
Yeah, it's like
I'm good for it for like once a month.
Can you imagine the dinners that we would go to, and your folks looking at us like, "Oh, you thought you tried to get all high and mighty on us going over there?" No, like we are not subjecting ourselves to that. If we're gonna go over to CAA, we go. First of all, we're competitive there, so it's not like we are.
We got to get I can only speak for A&T because y'all are actually more competitive in football than us. So we got to get competitive in the revenue sports. Like I think,
but you guys are competitive.
I think that'll lower the noise a little bit.
But
I think that's the biggest dilemma.
But you're competitive in the auxiliary sports, which is
big too. No. Like look, man. Shout out to the track team, man. They won the 4x400 at the Florida Relays last weekend. Yeah. No. There's no question about that.
Balling.
The 21st in the nation right now in track.
Ball.
The men's team is 21st in the country.
Team. Girls basketball, women's basketball team, balling. So, and when you put that stuff in front of them, it's like they cannot say anything. Like they're only looking at it as, oh well, we saw what so and so did to you. Put up 45 on the first quarter.
But it's important. It's important to. Like the revenue sports are important, and you got to win in those two. And I think that's the big rub right now.
Yeah,
everything else we're doing what we need to do everywhere else.
Yeah, and
even in baseball right now, we're third in the conference right now in baseball.
Yeah, no, and you got, but see, nobody pays attention to that, and that's the problem. It's like they're only opening up MEAC.com or MEACsports.com. On those Mondays to see what you did, or they looking at the ticker. Ooh, A&T got blown out 41-0 to Villanova, or Rhode Island and put up 52 on A&T. They only got.
By the way, man, I looked at y'all's schedule.
Yeah,
and let me say,
y'all
gonna start pretty strong going into the season, but conference play's gonna do a number on y'all, man. But I will say, y'all got some winnable games in conference.
Yeah,
But
I mean, we thought we were going to go 4-0 this past year, but that Morgan game, and the year before was the Norfolk State game. So my thing is, we have to figure out the quarterback situation. We brought the kid in from, I think, was it Lincoln, from the CIAA, which everybody's high on. And we got the holdover from last year, the Maryland, the DC
Freeman,
kid.
right? Is that his name, Freeman?
Yeah, Freeman, yeah. So everybody's in love with, like, they're saying this guy's amazing. He had a good spring. Unfortunately, my buddy
Gerald Huggins, he was a coach for that team. He coached that. He coached defense. He coached defense for Lincoln before he came to Morgan, and he coached the kid. Knows him very well.
Yeah,
that's a good gift for y'all.
Everybody swears by him. Everybody. So, I mean, I've only seen the highlights too, but I'm just gonna take what everyone's saying from like the Hampton coaching staff and from people who are around the program. I'm gonna take that, but right now this is the first time that me and Reek kind of in the dark right now. And it's not because of the fact that like we're just not caring. It's the fact that I got 2 babies and he got a son at AAU. So that's how rough it is. Well, I got 3 babies.
Oh man! Now here's another question for you, and then I know you gotta go, man. That's why we're doing a pretty extended segment to open up the show, guys. For those who haven't realized this yet, why don't the Hampton Powers put the ball down in front of the Eagles of that school down the road?
You mean what? Play them?
Yeah,
man. Like we're not really rivals, So it's like, why would we do that? Like, I would say like this: when we play them in basketball, that's more of a rivalry game. When Joyner was playing Lavelle, that was more of a rivalry game. Basketball, nah.
Have you played them since you guys have left to go to the
No.
Since y'all left? Really?
No. Ain't look. Central ain't bringing in no gate to Hampton, man. And we ain't bringing no gate to Central. Well, no, we do bring a gate to Central. So I will say that because there's a lot of Pirates that are in that corridor. But there ain't no Eagles up here in the Tidewater area. So, yeah, so there's no gate for it. It's a home and home might work. It's cool. But we'll rather have, like, A&T is good enough for us. That's that.
Well, we travel. Like we travel compared to a lot of HBC, like outside of some of the swag schools, we travel pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and plus, it's like
the running joke now is that there's gonna probably be more A&T fans at the game against Tennessee State than Tennessee State fans. So,
yeah, and we get more for the bang for the buck for A&T. They're in our conference. They travel, and it's kind of a more. It's it's a rivalry. Central's just Central. No love. There's nothing wrong. It's just we don't match.
Yeah. No, I was just curious because I know A&T has put forth an effort to play all the former MEAC schools in some sport. Like we played Delaware State in baseball.
Yeah.
So like we try to play our former MEAC brethren in all the sports we can. I gotta give AD Hilton credit for that. He said it when we made the first move, like we're gonna continue to play our MEAC foes. And we pretty much played everybody in the conference in a sport, at least one sport. Some multiple. Like we play school on the road in pretty much everything we can. Unless they're ducking. They have a habit of ducking. But sometimes they'll duck us in some of the other sports. But they haven't been doing that as of late.
Yeah.
So shout out to them. I mean, they're gonna always question it, but then when we look at the business side, then there's a different discussion point. But it's always a fascinating conversation when we get into that.
You know what? I'm not answering that question. I see that. You know what? That's my cue to go. Blackness.
Yeah, I know, man. It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild. It's always wild when we think about that. But it's just going with what everybody else is saying more than anything else. But thing is, I think the other thing too, and I know Brandon isn't here to defend himself, but I think the comparisons to Tennessee State is I think sometimes that's kind of short-sighted. And part of it is because I think you can't compare what A&T and Hampton's done versus what Tennessee State has done when you think about how long they've been out of the conference and things of that sort. Like Tennessee State ain't been in the Black Conference since the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're talking a long time. So I think I don't think there's not much of a comparison there. Do I think it would be nice to see if what would it look like nowadays in Tennessee State in the HBCU conference? Sure, but it's got to make sense for them too. And their administrators don't think it makes sense yet. And there's always a debate on whether or not that's a feasible option for them. I think it would have probably been cool to see. I think, and I know everybody wanted them to go to the SWAC, but I always keep saying the MEAC needs them more, much more.
Yep.
Mr. Thornton won't let it go, but if I recall correctly, the matchup against Jackson State was supposed to happen in Chicago, right? That was the original plan.
Correct.
And then it changed. Because of whatever.
Yeah.
And they just decided to still have the game, but they just did it in Jackson. Is it a home and home? Are they going to come to you?
So I have not heard as of yet any new changes. So, and I do have the AD on speed dial, so I can reach out to him and holler at him, but I'm not sure on it.
Okay. No, I'm just curious. Jackson will do a home and home, especially when you go there first.
We did do a home. They did come to Armstrong here this is a while back because something happened where we weren't able to go to theirs or the classic didn't work. This was a while back and they came to Armstrong. And when I say they complained up and down, boy, man, they complained.
Y'all ain't got enough seats for them, man, because they traveling. You want to talk about a fan base that travel? I give Jackson State fans a lot of grief because it's fun, but I got to give them credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
Jackson State, their fan base, they go.
Yo,
they travel.
Like it's just y'all ain't got nothing better than this, man. This ain't nothing but it turned into like
it's always like a thing. Like I always try to remind folks, like the East Coast HBCUs, they don't have the big stadiums, but then again, Jackson State is a unique one.
Yeah,
because they got one of the largest stadiums in all of FCS, let alone HBCU Sports. So their stadium is bigger than some FBS stadiums.
No, absolutely.
So I think you can't. I don't think that's never a fair comparison. But that's what they're used to. They're used to a big stadium. A&T ain't gonna have a stadium that can hold 60,000 people. No, that's just not gonna happen.
And I think it was more for them is. Now, do they own that stadium or is that the state's? Or do they rent it out for like $1?
I don't know. I'm not going to even answer that question.
Yeah, so no.
I mean, it's between y'all. It's between Jackson and Southern, man. Both because Southern travels too.
Well, Southern got a bunch of old people. That's why they travel, man. So
no, the youngest go to. I mean, it's football's like the deep South, man. Football's religion down there, man.
Well, I'm from Georgia, so trust me, I know. I'm the one who went to another northern school, and still my family is kind of like, what's wrong with that boy going up to Hampton?
Well, the thing is, I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, and South Carolina is always.
But you still in the same hemisphere, so yeah. I think anything above North Carolina is considered an East Coast school, like. Even the Virginia schools, I wouldn't like. They're Southern, but they're not like black Southern black. So, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, man. But all right. Well, I'm gonna let you go, man. You got to go deal with these twins.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do something after the break. This will probably be the only break of the episode. I gotta hightail this one a little bit early today, so I'm gonna probably go over a couple more things. But I'm gonna let you go, man. Appreciate you hopping on. Take care of them babies.
All right, bros. All right, y'all. Have a good
one. We'll be right back after this break.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate. Are you in good hands?
There's a shot. To right. Might be. It could be. Right field. Grand slam. What a shot. That's how you get hot, young fella.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do, and all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural taste, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Welcome back to episode 646 of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. This is the Indy Report, and I would like to apologize for the extended commercial break. That wasn't my intention. My camera decided to go down. So as you can see, I have a nice brighter picture today after the break. Probably a better picture than what I had with the other camera, even though the other camera was more expensive. But I hope everything's well in you guys in. I'm not going to be here too much longer, guys, because I got a lot of other things I gotta do. Me and Jeffrey Johnson, we went through a lot of things. I wanted to try to hit a lot of topics. I think the big thing that I've learned over the past week with regards to what's going on in HBCU sports is primarily that change is normalcy, and now it's happening at a much rapid pace. And I want to talk about the portal a little bit because we're seeing a lot of folks going into the portal, a lot of players going in the portal, coming back, things of that sort. And I think we as HBCUs got to start having that discussion point about what the expectation is for our athletic departments and what the expectation is for us as institutions and what we want to do. And I think with everything's going on with the NCAA settlement, with regards to NIL and other things in that regard, we as institutions got to start thinking about it and figuring out what's the best route for us. Like recently, a few weeks ago, we saw that predominantly white institution, St. Francis, made the decision to go from Division I to Division III. And the crazy thing about it, supposedly, the alumni base wanted to be involved in the NIL side of the fence, and the administrator still said, "No, we're good." So I think we have to start thinking about what we want to do. Like, and I bring that up to also circle back regarding my institution because coming right up. We have Norfolk A&T has their spring game coming up this Saturday, and there's a lot of HBCUs that has their spring game this Saturday. And A&T is probably one of many. I think this year April 12th was the day for a lot of them. But also, what's occurring at our spring game is also going to be a big Aggie Athletics Foundation meeting to discuss NIL and to move forward with regards to what we're trying to do with NIL. We have a collective, but also now we have to try to be comparable with what and how much we're going to invest in NIL on a yearly basis with our peers within the conference within the CAA. For those who don't know, the CAA made the decision to opt in on the NCAA settlement, which means you're going to have the roster limits of 105 for football, and there's other roster limits for different sports, which also means you can give scholarships to all 105 players if you choose to do so. I don't anticipate a lot of institutions within the CAA is going to do that for football. But I think institutions are going to make their own decisions on how they want to manage it. But that being said, we're seeing the tone, we're seeing the scene now where it might not necessarily be Power 4 conferences are the ones that are taking your players. It could also be peers within your conference. We just recently had an example of that with the basketball program where we had a player that went into the portal and they decided to jump to UNCW. And UNCW reportedly gave that individual a six-figure offer, a six-figure pay, a deal, so to speak. So institutions have to make a decision on which way they want to go. And I think it's not just about the institution, it's also about the coaches that you have. Does your coaching staff believe in paying players? Shout out to Coach Sean Gibbs, who's the current football coach from North Carolina A&T. He just recently did the Aggie podcast. And he pretty much was emphatic about, they asked him the question about how do you feel about NIL? And he said, well, I'm not the biggest. I would do, if you ask me, he said he's conflicted because if you ask me right now, he doesn't think, he believes that players should earn it. And I agree with him there. I think they should earn it. But I think when you start talking about players coming out as freshmen getting paid the amount of money that some of these kids are getting paid, I don't think we can be in that game yet. But I think we could be in the game of taking care of players that are performing at the level that you expect them to perform. And then you're going to have the situations where you're going to have Power 4 schools going after your best guys and gals. But I think the big thing for me, from my perspective, is I don't want to be losing to the peers within the conference. Like, I don't want to be in the situation where we're in the same conference with these individuals, and this player decides to just go to another conference rival because a conference foe because we can't pay or we're not able to pay. I think that is the biggest challenge from my perspective as a alma mater from a school that's not in the MEAC or the SWAC, that's in the independent conference, that's in the CAA. That's the way I'm thinking towards it. I'm pretty sure Hampton's probably feeling that same way too within the CAA. I think Tennessee State's probably feeling that same way, but I know Tennessee State's got other challenges going on with the institution. But I think long term they're probably thinking that same way. So it's going to be interesting with regards to that, how that goes. But we're gonna see what happens, man. I'm fascinated to see how this whole ordeal with the portal goes. Like I just think all our institutions got to start thinking about it and making tough decisions, because now these players are making business decisions as well, and they might not even be necessarily good business decisions. Some of these decisions aren't necessarily like, they're probably getting bad advice depending on what they have. Like they might have agents, they might have people who are not fully knowledgeable about this whole NIL space and this whole collective space. So it's probably going to be fascinating to see how this happens long term. I just think, and I know folks don't want to hear this, but I think that institutions are going to start making very tough decisions long term about where they think their athletic programs are going to go. And I think us as alumni and folks who are allies to HBCUs, we have to start figuring out the best path forward and how we can invest to make sure these athletic departments get what they need to get so they can compete in these particular in these sporting events. Like the giving rate for our HBCUs as a whole is much higher than our giving rate for our athletic programs at these particular HBCUs, and that's a gap that has to be closed if we want to be competitive. The running joke I've had with some of the A&T alums when we discuss NILs, like some folks are like, "Well, I don't know how I feel about it." And the first thing I said was, "Well, I hope you enjoy 3 and 9 and 4 and 8," because I think if you want to be competitive, I think you're going to have some level of investment to be competitive, depending on what conference that you're in. I'm pretty sure in the CA you definitely are going to have to. So, but the transfer portal is one piece of the puzzle, right? And I think, and shout out to Liv for Hoops, because she's been keeping a HBCU tracker of all the HBCU players that are within the portal. The transfer portal has changed the scope of how we handle our players, because the coaches got to recruit them pretty much 24/7. But at the same time, I think we have some level of opportunity to actually compete in this space if we have the right folks that understand it and are willing to do so, and we have the alumni bases that are ready to invest. Like shout out, like I give Jackson State, I'm gonna give Jackson State some more love. I think they're doing a phenomenal job from the standpoint of getting those collectives going and managing, and AD Robinson's managing what those collectives do and how to help their athletic programs, not just in football, but in multiple sports within the diaspora. So shout out to them, because I think they're doing a phenomenal job. I think they're one of the only HBCUs that is ready. Like if they really wanted to do this, I think they're one of the onlys that are ready. It's more than just going to the games. It's more than just buying season tickets. There's going to have to be a different level of giving that's going to have to occur if we really want to compete in this space. So like I said before, I throw my jokes, but that's what I do. But Jackson State, like the way they're handling a lot, my man Ken Clark, shout out to him and the collective that he's done. They've been doing a phenomenal job with regards to that. So, but we'll see. I think A&T's goal is to try to get to like 600K for the NIL budget, which is pretty comparable with what's going on in the conference. So I'm kind of looking forward to this Saturday. I'm not going to be able to make the spring game, but I do plan on dialing into the Athletic Foundation meeting to figure out what's going on and what makes sense. So it'll be interesting. But here's the thing, man. I will say this. It's not an accident that Bryce Harper hasn't announced the place where he's going yet. I think that there are some institutions that are out there that can compete. Like I don't think we have to match dollar for dollar. I really don't believe that. I don't. I think HBCUs has something unique that no PWI can offer. But I also don't think. I think we also have to be serious about what we're trying to do. But there's always going to be a back and forth about whether or not it makes the most sense or not. And I think every institution's got to make that decision on their own. And I stand corrected. It's 700K is what we're trying to raise for this upcoming year. I think the goal is in a couple of years to get to $1 million for NIL dollars. So it'll be interesting to see what the vibes are going to be during that meeting and after that meeting, and whether or not we're serious or not. Because I said this time and time again, I think alumni sponsorships are going to be the ones that are going to have to flip this tab. I don't think it's fair to put it on the students. I think the students already pay enough. But that's my opinion on the matter. This is just David talking at this rate. But I appreciate the correction, Ed. But on that note, what's up, Edwin, man? I'm on my way out the door, man. You out here coming in here all late. But I appreciate you coming to the show, man. And for those who don't know, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. On YouTube and on Facebook. But let me go ahead and close out the show. Well, 700K is more than a lot of HBCUs and what they're trying to do, man. So we're gonna see. But the budgets in the CAA are probably around $500,000. There's some schools that got over $1 million of an NIL budget, but overall the average is sitting around 500 to 600K. So I think if we can get to 700K, I think we're in a good spot. Look, man, I'm the same way too. I got a tournament right after this, so I got to close out. But let me go ahead and close out the show. But we'll see. But I'm curious to see how this continues to go with regards to the NCAA settlement. But let me go ahead and close out the show, and we're gonna call it a day. Let me see here. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. We look forward to next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. I'm David L. Rhodes. Shout out to Jeffrey Johnson for coming in. Make sure you follow Dr. Cavil on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter right here at ChampD1012. But you can follow Dr. Cavil at Dr. Kenyatta Cavil on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Make sure you go to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook and Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big and continue to move forward. We'll talk to you soon. Course, lecture, dismissed.